The stars looked different now. Captain Li Jun stood on the bridge of his ship, the Soul's Pride, and watched the alien fleet appear on his screens. 12 massive ships, each one bigger than anything humans had ever built. They moved in perfect formation, like a wall of metal and light. "Sir, they're sending a message," said his communications officer, Kim Woo. The young engineer's hands shook as he worked at his controls. Everyone on the bridge was scared. Li Jun could feel it in the air. "Put it through," Li Jun said. His voice was calm, but his heart beat fast in his chest. The main screen flickered. A creature appeared that made several crew members gasp. It looked like a mix between a lizard and a bird, with blue-green skin and 4 arms. Its eyes were black and cold. When it spoke, its voice was deep and commanding. "I am High Chancellor Vexthul of the Veltar Empire. You are the species called humans, yes? We have been watching you for some time." Li Jun stepped forward. "I am Captain Li Jun of the Earthship Soul's Pride. We come in peace." The alien made a sound that might have been laughter. "Peace? How simple you are. Listen carefully, human. Your species has entered space that belongs to the Veltar Empire. We have ruled this part of the galaxy for 3,000 of your years. 12 species serve under our protection." Dr. Park Mina, the ship's scientist, whispered to Li Jun. "Captain, our long-range sensors show their empire covers hundreds of star systems." Vexthul continued speaking. "Your choice is simple. Submit to Veltar rule or be destroyed. We are not cruel masters. We protect those who serve us. You will give us your technology, your ships, and your colonies. In return, we will let your species live." The bridge went quiet. Li Jun looked around at his crew. Kim Woo stared at his screens with wide eyes. Dr. Park Mina stood with her arms crossed, anger clear on her face. Commander Choi Sun, the military officer, had his hand near his weapon. "How long do we have to decide?" Li Jun asked. "You have one of your days," Vexthul said. "After that, we will show you what happens to those who refuse our generous offer." The screen went black. For a moment, nobody spoke. "Sir," Kim Woo said, "I'm picking up more ships on long-range sensors. Hundreds of them. They're moving toward our outer colonies." Li Jun walked to the center of the bridge. He thought about Earth, about the billions of people who lived there. He thought about the human colonies on Mars, Europa, and the outer worlds. All those people trusting him to make the right choice. "Get me a channel to Earth Command," he said. "Sir, that will take 6 hours for the message to reach them," Dr. Park Mina said. "Then we make our own choice," Li Jun replied. "Kim Woo, open a channel back to the Veltar ship." "Captain, are you sure?" Commander Choi Sun asked. Li Jun nodded. Humans didn't come this far by bowing to bullies. The screen flickered again. Vexthul appeared, looking surprised. "Have you made your decision so quickly, human?" "Yes," Li Jun said. He stood straight and looked directly at the alien leader. "Here is humanity's answer. We don't ask for what we want, we take it." Vexthul's forearms moved in what looked like shock. "What did you say?" "You heard me. Humans take what we want. We want our freedom. We want our colonies. We want the right to explore space without asking permission from anyone." The alien's black eyes seemed to grow darker. "You refuse our protection?" "We don't need your protection," Li Jun said, "and we won't bow to you or anyone else." For several seconds, Vexthul said nothing. Then his voice became colder than space itself. "No species has ever refused the Veltar Empire. Not in 3,000 years." "Then you've been dealing with the wrong species," Li Jun replied. Dr. Park Mina stepped forward. "High Chancellor, surely we can find a peaceful solution. Our species could work together as equals." Vexthul looked at her like she was an insect. "Equals? You have been in space for less than 100 years. We have conquered civilizations older than your entire history. There are no equals in the galaxy, only rulers and those who serve." "That's where you're wrong," Li Jun said. "There are those who rule, those who serve, and those who fight back. Guess which one we are?" The alien leader made a gesture with all 4 arms. "Your ignorance is amusing. Very well. Since you choose to learn the hard way, we will teach you. Our fleet is already moving toward your colonies. You have perhaps 12 of your hours before they arrive. Good, Commander Choi-sun said, speaking for the first time. That gives us time to prepare. Vexthul stared at the human military officer. Prepare for what? To die? To show you what happens when you threaten humans, Choi-sun replied. The alien's image flickered with what might have been anger. In 3,000 years, no species has resisted us for more than a few days. Your primitive weapons cannot hurt our ships. Your small colonies cannot stand against our armies. Kim Woo looked up from his station. Sir, I'm detecting massive energy signatures from their fleet. They're powering up weapon systems. Lee Jun smiled, which seemed to confuse Vexthul. You know what your problem is, High Chancellor? You've been winning for so long you forgot what it feels like to face someone who won't give up. You will learn, Vexthul said. Pain is an excellent teacher. So is anger, Dr. Park Mina said quietly. And you just made 4 billion humans very angry. The alien leader paused. 4 billion? Our intelligence said your species numbers only in the millions. Your intelligence is wrong about a lot of things, Lee Jun said. You're about to find out just how wrong. Vexthul's image began to fade. We will speak again after your colonies burn. Perhaps then you will be more reasonable. The screen went black again. This time, the silence lasted longer. Well, Dr. Park Mina said, that could have gone better. Could have gone worse too, Lee Jun replied. At least now we know where we stand. Commander Choi-sun activated his communication system. All stations, this is Commander Choi-sun. Battle stations. This is not a drill. Prepare for immediate departure to the Sejong colony. Kim Woo looked worried. Captain, their ships are huge. Our weapons aren't the only things that matter in a fight. Lee Jun interrupted. Sometimes the most important weapon is the will to use them. Dr. Park Mina pulled up star charts on her screen. The nearest colony is Sejong, 30,000 people. If the Veltar fleet reaches them first, they won't, Lee Jun said firmly. Set course for Sejong, maximum speed. As the Soul's Pride turned toward the distant colony, Lee Jun looked out at the stars one more time. Somewhere out there, alien ships were moving toward human worlds. The Veltar Empire expected another easy victory, another species to add to their collection. They were about to learn that humans were different. Humans didn't surrender. Humans didn't bow. When pushed, humans pushed back harder. The war for humanity's freedom was about to begin. Humans take what they want. The Veltar Warfleet arrived at Sejong Colony like a storm of metal and fire. 12 massive ships dropped out of hyperspace and took positions around the small human world. From space, they looked like giants standing over an anthill. Commander Choi-sun stood in the colony's command center, watching the enemy ships on his screens. Around him, 30,000 colonists prepared for the worst. They had miners, farmers, engineers, and teachers. None of them were soldiers, but all of them were human. Sir, the alien ships are sending a message, said Lieutenant Yoon Ha, the colony's communication officer. Put it through, Choi-sun said. The screen showed a different Veltar than before. This one was bigger, with red markings on his blue-green skin. His forearms moved as he spoke. I am War Commander Thexvol. You will surrender immediately. Your resistance ends now. Choi-sun stepped forward. This is Commander Choi-sun of Sejong Colony. We don't surrender. The alien looked confused. Your home fleet is still days away. You have no warships, no weapons that can hurt us. Surrender, and your deaths will be quick. We're not planning to die today, Choi-sun replied. But some of you are. Thexvol made that sound that might have been laughter. With what weapons, human? Your mining equipment? Your farming tools? Choi-sun smiled. You'll see. The communication ended. Choi-sun turned to his people. In the command center were Kim Woo, who had arrived with the Soul's Pride, Dr. Park Mina, and dozens of colonists. Status report. Choi Sun said. Kim Woo looked up from his console. I've been studying their ship designs from the sensor data. These aliens have used the same technology for hundreds of years. Same weapons, same shields, same tactics. Dr. Park. Mina nodded. That's what I've been telling you. The Veltar Empire is old, very old. They've perfected their systems, but that also means they never change. And that's their weakness, said a new voice. Everyone turned to see Captain Lee Jun entering the command center. The Soul's Pride had arrived just ahead of the alien fleet. Captain, Kim Woo said with relief. Lee Jun walked to the main display. Dr. Park, show me what you've learned about their technology. Dr. Park Mina brought up her analysis on the screen. Look at this. Every Veltar ship uses the same communication frequency, the same command codes, the same tactical patterns. For 3,000 years, they've conquered species that tried to fight them the same way they fight. But we're not going to fight them the same way, Choi Sun said, understanding. Exactly, Lee Jun replied. Kim Woo, can you jam their communications? The young engineer studied the data. Not jam them, sir, but maybe something better. Their system is so standardized I might be able to hack into it. Outside, the first alien shuttles began dropping toward the colony. Inside each shuttle were Veltar soldiers expecting another easy victory. All units, this is Commander Choi Sun. Remember the plan. Let them land. Let them think they're winning. Then we show them how humans fight. The first alien soldiers stepped onto human soil and, hour later, they wore heavy armor and carried energy weapons. They moved in perfect formation just like their ships. Everything was according to their ancient battle plans. The colonists seemed to run in panic. The Veltar soldiers followed, driving them toward the colony center. It looked like another easy conquest. That's when the humans struck back. The running. Colonists suddenly stopped and turned around. From every building, every alley, every rooftop, humans appeared with weapons. Not energy weapons like the aliens used, but human weapons. Explosive charges, projectile guns. Mining equipment turned into weapons of war. The Veltar had never seen anything like it. Their perfect formation broke apart as humans attacked from all directions at once. Report, War Commander Thexval demanded from his ship. Sir, the humans are not fighting properly, his ground commander replied. They don't form battle lines, they don't follow military protocol, they're attacking from everywhere. In the colony, Kim Woo worked frantically at his computer. Almost got it, he muttered. Their communication system is like a lock with the same key for 3,000 years. Dr. Park Mina watched the battle on her screens. Look at this. The aliens keep trying to form up in their standard patterns, but our people won't let them. Every time they group together, we hit them with explosives. A mining engineer named Park Jin ran past the command center, carrying a bag of explosive charges. Behind him, 3 colonists carried jury-rigged weapons made from mining lasers. This is insane, Dr. Park Mina said. We're fighting with mining, equipment against space-age weapons. And we're winning, Choi Sun replied, watching his tactical display. The aliens don't know how to handle chaos. They've been fighting the same way for so long they can't adapt. Up in space, Captain Lee Jun watched the battle from the Soul's Pride. His small ship was no match for the alien war fleet, but he had other ideas. Kim Woo, how's that communication hack coming? He asked over the radio. Got it, Kim Woo's voice crackled back. I'm into their system. Captain, you're not going to believe this. They're using command codes that are 3,000 years old. Never changed them once. Lee Jun smiled. Send false orders to their ground forces, tell them to retreat to landing zone 7. But sir, that's where we place the biggest explosive charges. I know. On the ground, Veltar soldiers suddenly received new orders. Retreat to landing zone 7 for immediate evacuation. The orders came through their own command system, using their own codes. They had no reason to doubt them. 200 alien soldiers marched into the trap. The explosion could be seen from space. War Commander Thexval stared at his screens in shock. What happened? How did they destroy so many of my warriors? Sir, his tactical officer said, the humans somehow used our own communication system against us. Impossible. Our codes are unbreakable. The humans broke them anyway, sir. On the ground, The remaining Veltar forces found themselves surrounded and confused. Every time they tried to regroup, humans appeared from unexpected directions. Every time they called for help, their communications were jammed or hijacked. Dr. Park Mina watched captured alien equipment being dragged into the command center. "Look at this technology," she said. "It's advanced, but it's also predictable. They've spent so long perfecting it, they forgot how to innovate." Commander Choi, Sun nodded. "While we've spent our whole history learning to adapt, every war, every fight, we learn something new." The battle raged for 6 more hours. When it ended, half the alien landing force was dead or captured. The other half had retreated to their ships. War Commander Thexvol stared down at the human colony. In 3,000 years of conquest, he had never lost a ground battle. Never. "Sir," his communication officer said, "we're receiving a message from the humans." Captain Lee Jun appeared on the screen. Behind him stood Commander Choi, Sun, Dr. Park Mina, and Kim Woo. All of them looked tired but victorious. "War Commander Thexvol," Lee Jun said, "do you want to surrender?" The alien's forearms shook with rage. "Surrender? You have won one small battle against a minor landing force. We still have 12 warships. You have nothing that can hurt us." Kim Woo stepped forward. "Actually, we do." He held up a small device. "I hacked your communication system. Want to know what else I can hack?" Thexvol's eyes went wide. "You cannot." One of his own ships suddenly fired on another. Then a third ship fired on the first. In space, the Veltar fleet began attacking itself. "Stop!" Thexvol screamed. "Our own ships are firing on each other." "That's what happens when humans get angry," Lee Jun said calmly. "We don't just break your bodies. We break your systems. We break your plans. We break everything you think you know about war." The alien war. Commander watched his perfect fleet tear itself apart. Ships that had conquered dozens of worlds now fired on each other because a human boy had rewritten their computer codes. "This is impossible," he whispered. "No," Dr. Park Mina said. "This is what happens when you fight a species that never stops learning, never stops adapting, and never gives up." By the end of the day, 8 of the 12 Veltar ships were destroyed or damaged. The others retreated, carrying news of their defeat back to the Empire. On Sejong Colony, humans celebrated their first victory. But they all knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy was watching now. And for the first time in 3,000 years, the Veltar Empire had lost. Agent Yun-Ha moved through the dark corridors of the alien space station like a shadow. Her black stealth suit made her almost invisible, and her modified breathing mask let her survive in the alien atmosphere. She had been inside Veltar territory for 3 weeks now, searching for something the humans desperately needed: allies. The space station orbited a world called Kethvar, home to the Kethran people. According to captured Veltar records, the Kethran had been part of the Empire for over 400 years. They were described as model subjects who caused no trouble and followed all orders. Yun-Ha was about to find out why. She slipped into a maintenance shaft and crawled toward the residential section. Through a ventilation grate, she could see into the Kethran living areas. What she saw made her angry. The Kethran looked like humans, but taller and thinner, with pale blue skin and large eyes. They moved slowly, like people who had given up hope long ago. Their clothes were simple gray uniforms. Their homes were small, identical boxes. Yun-Ha watched a group of young Kethran sitting in a circle. An older one was teaching them. "Remember," the teacher said, "the Veltar protect us. Before they came, our people were violent and primitive. We fought wars. We killed each other. The Veltar brought us peace." One young Kethran raised his hand. "But Elder Vox, what about the old stories? The ones about Kethran warriors?" The elder's face became frightened. "Those are forbidden stories, child. The Veltar have explained this. Those stories are lies meant to make us violent again. We must not think about them." Yun-Ha had heard enough. She found her target that night, a Kethran named Dal who worked in the station's communication center. She followed him to a quiet corridor and stepped out of the shadows. Dal jumped back, terrified. Please don't hurt me. I've done nothing wrong. I'm not Veltar, Yunha said, removing her mask. I'm human. Dal stared at her. Human? But the Veltar said humans were destroyed weeks ago. The Veltar lie about a lot of things, Yunha replied. Can we talk somewhere private? 20 minutes later, they sat in Dal's small apartment. Yunha showed him pictures on her portable device, the battle at Sejong Colony, the destroyed Veltar ships, human colonists celebrating victory. This is impossible, Dal whispered. No one can defeat the Veltar. We did, Yunha said, and we're going to do it again, but we need help. Dal looked scared. I cannot help you. The Veltar have sensors everywhere. They watch us constantly. Tell me about your people, Yunha said, before the Veltar came. Dal was quiet for a long time. Then very softly he began to speak. My great-grandmother used to tell me stories, secret stories. She said the Kethran were once great warriors. We had ships that could travel between stars. We had weapons that could split mountains. What happened? The Veltar came with promises of peace and protection. They said they would end our wars. Instead, they took our weapons, our ships, our history. They rewrote our books, they changed our schools. After a few generations, most Kethran believed the Veltar version of history. Yunha leaned forward. But you don't believe it. Dal shook his head. My family kept the old stories alive, hidden but alive. There are others like us. Not many, but some. How many? Maybe 1 in 100 Kethran remembers the truth. The rest. Dal sighed. The rest are too afraid to remember. Yunha spent the next week meeting with these hidden Kethran. They were scared, beaten down by centuries of Veltar rule. But, deep inside, a small flame of their warrior spirit still burned. Meanwhile, in human space, Captain Lee Jun was dealing with his own problems. The Veltar had sent 3 more fleets toward human colonies. Earth Command was finally responding, sending warships to help defend the outer worlds. Captain, Dr. Park Mina said, entering the bridge of the Soul's Pride. I've been studying the captured Veltar technology. I think I know why they've been so successful for so long. Lee Jun looked up from his tactical display. Tell me. It's not just their technology, Dr. Park said. It's their method. They don't just conquer species physically. They conquer them mentally. Look at this. She showed him records from the captured Veltar command ship. Every species they've conquered follows the same pattern. First, the Veltar offer protection from some threat. When the species accepts, the Veltar slowly take control of their military, their government, their schools. Cultural conquest, Lee Jun said. Exactly. Within a few generations, the conquered species believed they were always weak, always needed protection. The Veltar rewrite history to make it seem like they were saviors, not conquerors. Kim Woo, who was working at the engineering station, looked up. That's why they were so shocked when we refused to surrender. No one has said no to them in thousands of years. Dr. Park nodded. But here's the interesting part. I think their system is breaking down. The records show increasing problems with unrest in some of their subject worlds. Species are starting to remember their real history. Lee Jun smiled. Then maybe it's time to help them remember. Back on the Kethran station, Yunha was preparing for the most dangerous part of her mission. With Dal's help, she had identified the location of the Veltar commander's personal quarters. Inside would be the communication equipment she needed. This is suicide, Dal whispered, as they crawled through the maintenance shafts toward the command section. Maybe, Yunha replied, but sometimes that's what it takes to wake people up. They reached the commander's quarters at the shift change. When the guards were distracted, Yunha slipped inside while Dal kept watch. The Veltar commander's personal computer contained exactly what she hoped to find: the real history of the Kethran people. Records the Veltar had kept hidden for 4 centuries. The Kethran had been fierce warriors, explorers who had mapped dozens of star systems. They had advanced technology and a proud culture. The Veltar had destroyed it all piece by piece, lie by lie. Yoon-ha copied the files and prepared her broadcast equipment. What she was about to do would alert every Veltar in the system to her presence. She would probably die. But the truth would survive. She activated the transmission and began broadcasting the real Kethran history across the planet's communication network. Into every home, every workplace, every school. The reaction was immediate. On the planet below, Kethran stopped what they were doing and stared at their screens. They saw pictures of their ancestors as proud warriors. They heard recordings of old Kethran war songs. They learned that their peaceful history was a lie. On the space station, alarms began blaring. Veltar soldiers ran through the corridors, searching for the source of the illegal broadcast. "Time to go," Yoon-ha told Dal. But Dal wasn't moving. He was staring at the screen, tears running down his blue face. "My great-grandmother was right," he whispered. "We were warriors. We were strong." The door exploded inward. Veltar soldiers poured into the room, energy weapons ready. "Surrender, humans," the leader shouted. Yoon-ha raised her hands, but Dal suddenly stood up. For the first time in his life, he looked proud. "I am not human," he said in a strong voice. "I am Kethran, and we do not surrender to invaders." He grabbed a weapon from the nearest Veltar and began fighting. Other Kethran, hearing the commotion, came running. When they saw Dal fighting the Veltar, something awakened in them. The space station erupted in chaos. For the first time in 400 years, Kethran were fighting back. On the planet below, similar scenes played out in every city. Kethran, who had spent their lives in quiet submission, suddenly remembered what they really were. They attacked Veltar facilities, freed prisoners, and raised old Kethran battle flags that no one had seen for centuries. High Chancellor Vexthul received the reports on his flagship with growing horror. "The Kethran are in full revolt," his aide reported. 7 worlds, 2 space stations, and a mining fleet. "How is this possible?" Vexthul demanded. "The Kethran are our most loyal subjects." "Sir, someone broadcast their real history, their pre-conquest history. They're remembering who they used to be." Vexthul's forearms clenched into fists. "The humans. They did this." The rebellion spread faster than anyone expected. Other conquered species heard about the Kethran uprising and began questioning their own histories. Within days, 3 more species declared independence from the Veltar Empire. Yoon-ha, somehow surviving the chaos on the space station, sent a message back to human space. "Mission accomplished. The galaxy is remembering how to fight." Captain Lee Jun received the message and smiled. The war was no longer just about human freedom. It was about freedom for everyone. The Veltar Empire, stable for 3,000 years, was beginning to crack. And at the center of it all were humans who refused to bow, refused to surrender, and refused to let anyone else stay enslaved. The real war was just beginning. Captain Lee Jun stood on the bridge of his flagship, the New Soul, and watched the tactical display. Red dots showed Veltar forces, blue dots showed the Rebel Alliance, green dots showed neutral systems. Every day, more green dots turned blue, as species joined the rebellion. "Status report," Lee Jun said. Commander Choi Sun stepped forward. 47 star systems have declared independence from the Veltar Empire. The Kethran have retaken their homeworld. The Zephani destroyed 3 Veltar bases in their sector. Dr. Park Mina looked up from her science station. "Captain, I'm getting reports of Veltar forces retreating toward their core worlds. They're abandoning the outer territories." Kim Woo, now chief engineer of the rebel fleet, shook his head. "It's not retreat, it's regrouping. Our spies report massive military buildup around the Veltar homeworld." Lee Jun nodded grimly. "They're preparing for a final battle. All or nothing." The war had been raging for 6 months. What started as humanity's refusal to surrender had become the largest rebellion in galactic history. Dozens of species had thrown off Veltar rule and joined the fight for freedom. But the Veltar were not finished. High Chancellor Vexthul had pulled his remaining forces back to protect the Empire's most important worlds. Intelligence reports suggested he was preparing something terrible. "Sir," said Agent Yoon-ha, entering the bridge. She looked tired, but determined. "I have news from our spies in Veltar space." "Tell me," Li Jun said. "The Veltar are building superweapons, planet killers. They're planning to destroy Earth, Kethvar, and every rebel homeworld." The bridge went silent. Dr. Park Mina's face went pale. "Planet killers? That would be genocide." "How long do we have?" Commander Choi-sun asked. 2 weeks, maybe 3, Yunha replied. "After that, they'll be ready to start destroying worlds." Li Jun looked at the tactical display again. The Veltar homeworld was deep in enemy territory, protected by hundreds of warships and defensive stations. Getting there would require the largest space battle in galactic history. "Send a message to all rebel forces," he said. "We're going to end this war, one way or another." 3 days later, the rebel fleet assembled in the Kalar system just outside Veltar core territory. It was an amazing sight. Human ships flying alongside Kethran vessels, Zephani fighters, and craft from a dozen other species. In total, over 3,000 ships had answered the call. Li Jun addressed the fleet from his flagship. "Warriors of the galaxy," he began. "6 months ago, most of us were slaves or subjects of the Veltar Empire. Today, we are free beings, fighting for the right to remain free." On screens throughout the fleet, faces looked back at him. Humans, Kethran, Zephani, and others, all united by one thing: the refusal to bow to tyrants. "The Veltar think they can win by threatening to destroy our worlds," Li Jun continued. "They're wrong. We're not fighting for planets or territory. We're fighting for the idea that no one has the right to rule another against their will." Commander Dal of the Kethran fleet spoke next. The same Dal who had once been a frightened station worker was now a military leader. "The Veltar tried to make us forget who we were. They tried to convince us we were weak. Today we proved them wrong." The attack began at dawn, ship time. The rebel fleet jumped into the Veltar home system in 3 waves. The first wave, led by fast human and Kethran ships, hit the outer defenses. The second wave, heavier ships with better weapons, pushed deeper into the system. The third wave, including Li Jun's flagship, headed straight for the Veltar homeworld. The battle was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Thousands of ships fighting across an entire star system. Energy beams crossed space like deadly lightning. Ships exploded in silent flashes of light. Kim Woo worked frantically at his engineering station. "Captain, I'm reading massive energy buildup from the planet's surface. I think they're charging their super weapons." "How long?" Li Jun asked. "Maybe an hour before they can fire." Dr. Park Mina studied her sensors. "Captain, I'm detecting something else. There are ships launching from the planet. Big ones." On the main screen, they could see Veltar dreadnoughts rising from the planet's surface. Each one was the size of a small city bristling with weapons. "My God," Commander Choi-sun whispered. "How many ships do they have?" "All of them," Li Jun replied. "This is their everything. Every ship, every weapon, every soldier they have left." The space around the Veltar homeworld became a nightmare of fire and metal. Ships from both sides fought and died in the darkness between the stars. But slowly, the rebels began to push forward. Agent Yoon Ha, commanding a stealth squadron, managed to get close to the planet's surface. "Captain," her voice crackled over the radio, "I can see the superweapon facilities. If we can destroy them, do it," Li Jun ordered. Yoon Ha's ships dove toward the planet, dodging defensive fire. They launched their missiles at the huge weapon platforms just as the Veltar were preparing to fire. The explosions lit up the planet's sky. One by one, the superweapons died in balls of fire. High Chancellor Vex Thule watched from his command ship as his ultimate weapons were destroyed. "This cannot be happening," he said. "We are the Veltar Empire. We have ruled for 3,000 years. His aide looked terrified. "Sir, the humans are breaking through our final defense line. They're heading straight for us." Vexthul looked at the tactical display. Rebel ships were everywhere, overwhelming his forces through sheer determination and courage. "How?" he whispered. How are they winning? On the new Sol, Li Jun could see Vexthol's command ship ahead. It was huge, covered in weapons and armor, but it was alone now. The rest of the Veltar fleet was scattered or destroyed. "This is Captain Li Jun," he broadcast on all frequencies. "High Chancellor Vexthol, surrender now, and this ends. Keep fighting, and we'll destroy every last ship you have." Vexthol appeared on the screen, his forearms shaking with rage. "Never! The Veltar Empire will not surrender to inferior species." "Then you'll die with your empire," Li Jun replied. The final battle lasted only minutes. Vexthol's ship, for all its size and weapons, could not stand against the combined rebel fleet. It died in fire, taking the last symbol of Veltar power with it. As the smoke cleared, something amazing happened. Across the Veltar homeworld, alien civilians came out of their homes and looked up at the sky. For the first time in their lives, they saw ships in orbit that were not there to oppress them. Dr. Park Mina monitored the planet's communications. "Captain, we're getting messages from the surface. They want to talk." Li Jun nodded. "Open a channel to the planet." A Veltar appeared on screen, but this one looked different. Older, wiser, and very tired. "I am Elder Kexthol of the Veltar. Council, the High Chancellor is dead. The war is over." "What are your terms for surrender?" Commander Choi Sun asked. The Elder looked surprised. "Terms? We have no ships left, no weapons. We are at your mercy." Li Jun thought for a moment. Around him, his crew waited to hear what humanity would do with their defeated enemies. "Here are our terms," Li Jun said finally. "You will release all political prisoners. You will return stolen property to conquered worlds. You will stand trial for war crimes, and you will never again try to rule over others." The Veltar Elder nodded slowly. "And what will you do with our people? Our world?" Li Jun surprised everyone, including his own crew, with his answer. "You'll be free. Free to choose your own government, your own future. Free to make your own mistakes and your own successes. Just like everyone else." The war was over. The Veltar Empire, which had lasted 3,000 years, was finished. But something new was beginning. Something built on freedom instead of fear. The galaxy would never be the same. Humans take what they want. 1 year later, Captain Li Jun stood in the Great Assembly Hall on the former Veltar homeworld. The planet had been renamed Harmony by its new government. Where once only Veltar voices had been heard, now representatives from dozens of species gathered to create something the galaxy had never seen before. "The Galactic Confederation is now in session," announced Speaker Dal of the Kethran. The same Dal who had once been afraid to speak against his oppressors now led one of the most important meetings in galactic history. Li Jun looked around the hall. Humans sat next to Kethran. Zephani delegates talked with former Veltar officials. Species that had been enemies for centuries were now working together. Dr. Park Mina, now the head of the Confederation Science Council, stood to address the assembly. "Today we make official what we have been building for the past year. A government based on freedom, cooperation, and mutual respect." The applause filled the hall, but Li Jun noticed some empty seats. Not every species had joined the Confederation yet. Some were still suspicious. Others preferred to remain independent. That was their choice, and humans respected it. Agent Yun Ha, now Director of Confederation Intelligence, gave her report. "We have successfully liberated 43 former prison worlds. Over 2 million political prisoners have been freed and returned to their families." More applause. But Yun Ha wasn't finished. "However, we still have work to do. There are Veltar war criminals hiding in the outer systems. There are slave markets still operating beyond our borders. Our job is not done." Commander Choi Sun, now head of Confederation Defense, nodded. "We have established defense agreements with 67 worlds. No one will face invasion alone again. When one member is threatened, all members respond." Li Jun smiled. This was what victory really looked like. Not conquest or domination, but cooperation and mutual aid. Elder Kexthol of the reformed Veltar. Government stood to speak. Many in the hall still didn't trust him or his people. The wounds of 3,000 years of oppression would take time to heal. The Veltar people accept full responsibility for the crimes of our empire, he said. We have begun returning stolen artifacts and technology to their rightful owners. We have opened our historical archives so all species can learn their true histories. And we have established a fund to help rebuild worlds damaged by our forces. Kim Wu, now Chief Technology Officer for the Confederation, had his own announcement. The Technology Sharing Initiative is now active. Every member species contributes their knowledge to a common database. No more hoarding of science. No more keeping others primitive to maintain power. This was perhaps the most revolutionary change. For millennia, advanced species had kept their technology secret to maintain advantages over others. Now, for the first time, knowledge flowed freely. In just 1 year, Kim Wu continued, we have made advances that would have taken centuries under the old system. Kethron medical knowledge combined with human engineering has created new healing technologies. Zephani energy research merged with Veltar manufacturing has produced better power systems for everyone. Dr. Park Mina stood again. But our greatest achievement is not technological, it's social. We have proven that different species can work together as equals. We have shown that diversity makes us stronger, not weaker. She activated a holographic display showing the galaxy. Blue areas showed Confederation members. Green showed friendly independent worlds. Yellow showed neutral systems. Only small red areas remained hostile. The galaxy is more peaceful now than it has been in recorded history, she said. Trade is flourishing. Scientific research is advancing rapidly. Art and culture are spreading between worlds. But Li Jun knew it wasn't perfect. In the audience, he could see the scars the war had left. Species that had been enemies for generations didn't become friends overnight. There were still arguments, still mistrust, still problems to solve. A Zephani delegate stood up. What about the Outer Rim territories? There are reports of new warlords trying to build their own empires. Agent Yunha answered, we are monitoring the situation. Several small groups are trying to copy the old Veltar model, but they face a problem the Veltar never had. Species that know they can fight back and win. We offer help to anyone facing oppression, Commander Choi Sun added. But we don't force our help on anyone. The choice to join us or to remain independent belongs to each world. This was the key difference between the Confederation and the old Empire. The Veltar had forced their protection on others. The Confederation offered assistance, but respected the right to refuse. Elder Kexthol spoke again. If I may, I would like to say something about the humans. The hall grew quiet. Many species still wondered about humanity's role in the new galaxy. Were they the new rulers? Did they expect special treatment for leading the rebellion? When we were defeated, Kexthol said, we expected to become your slaves. That is how conquest has always worked. The strong rule the weak. But humans taught us something new. He looked directly at Li Jun. They taught us that true strength comes from lifting others up, not keeping them down. Humans could have taken control of the galaxy. Instead, they shared power with everyone. Li Jun stood to respond. Humans don't want to rule the galaxy. We never did. We just wanted to be free to make our own choices, and we wanted everyone else to have that same freedom. He looked around the hall at all the different faces. What we take together. We take knowledge and share it. We take responsibility for protecting each other. We take the future and build it together. The applause was thunderous. But Li Jun wasn't finished. A year ago, the Veltar told us that humans take what they want. They were right. We wanted freedom, and we took it. We wanted justice, and we took it. We wanted a galaxy where no one has to bow to tyrants, and we took that too. He paused, looking at the assembly. But the most important thing we took was the chance to prove that different doesn't mean enemy. That cooperation is stronger than conquest. That the galaxy belongs to all of us, not just the strongest. Dr. Park Mina activated another display. This one showed population statistics, trade figures, and scientific achievements. Look at what we've accomplished in just 1 year, she said. Poverty has dropped by 30% in Confederation space. Scientific discoveries have increased by 400%. Interspecies marriages have increased by 2,000%. That last statistic got some laughter. Love, it seemed, was the most powerful force for bringing species together. Kim Woo had one final announcement. The Confederation Council has voted to establish the Harmony Institute here on this world. It will be a center for learning, research, and diplomacy. Students from every member species will study together. Agent Yoon-ha smiled. And we've decided to build a monument in the capital, not to war or conquest, but to the moment when the galaxy chose cooperation over conflict. Commander. Choi Sun stood for the final announcement. The Confederation Charter has been ratified by all founding members. We are now officially the Galactic Confederation of Free Worlds. The celebration lasted long into the night. Humans danced with Kethran. Zafani shared songs with reformed Veltar. Former enemies toasted their new friendship. Lee Jun stepped outside and looked up at the stars. Each point of light represented worlds where beings were now free to choose their own destiny. It wasn't perfect. It never would be. There would always be new challenges, new threats, new problems to solve, but they would face them together. Dr. Park Mina joined him. What are you thinking about, Captain? Lee Jun smiled. I'm thinking about what we'll take next. What do you mean? Well, Lee Jun said, we've taken freedom, justice, and cooperation. But there's still so much more out there. Scientific mysteries to solve, new worlds to explore, new friends to make. He looked at the stars again. Humans take what they want. And what we want is a galaxy where everyone can reach for the stars together. In the distance, they could hear the sounds of celebration. Different voices, different languages, all joined in the same song of freedom. The age of empires was over. The age of cooperation had begun, and it all started because humans refused to bow.